So I remember last year when I went to BravoCon and Andy Cohen announced the new franchise of Real Housewives. And when he said Salt Lake City, I was like, what? Really? Not Chicago? I was really expecting Chicago, even Philadelphia, but Salt Lake City? White ass Utah? Huh? But yeah, so here we are. I'm giving this season a chance. This is season 1, episode 1. Now, just to warn you, if you took a shot game and every time they said the word Mormon, you'd have to take a shot, you'd be passed out. So there's a lot of mention of that. And it was mentioned so much in this episode, I just really had to just Google some things just to know about the Mormon faith. Like, I already knew that they were like kind of just like strict Christians, maybe, like really strict and Jesus-y. I don't know. But also, they can't have alcohol, tobacco, tea, coffee, no drugs. Polygamy was a thing. I'm not sure if they still do that, but it's old school Mormon. And also, they weren't particularly that fond of black people. So that's why I was kind of just like, do I want to review this? But anywho, I'm giving this episode a chance. I saw some of the taglines and the promos, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this show a chance. These are some of the taglines that I read. When you take a cheap shot, always expect a hangover. This rose isn't scared to handle a little prick. And my favorite, I love God, but I will read you like a scripture, and that's from Mary, and we will get to her. So we open up in white-ass Utah, specifically Salt Lake City. Beautiful house we see, and then we are introduced to Jen and her black family. I'm like, okay, I did not expect this. I really didn't. I'm welcome to it. Here we go. So Jen is Hawaiian, even though most of the city just assumes she's black. Her husband is a university football coach, and he's black, and they have 2 kids together. She lets us know that she was raised Mormon, but she converted to Islam because her husband is Muslim. She did that because the Mormon faith were basically racist. She says they were racist, but okay. Now they're having this, uncomfortable family time talk in front of the cameras, and I get it. It's cute. My first impression of Jen, I like her. She kind of reminds me like an older version of Nicole Scherzinger. She has that whole racial ambiguity going on. Now we're on to the next wife. This is Heather. She's born and raised Mormon. She owns this beauty bar that's basically this place where you can get non-invasive surgery to any part of your body. She's a divorcee. She married really well, and she got 3 kids out of that relationship. Now, in her confessional, she's going over, I'm guessing, all the rules to be Mormon. And she lets us know that she breaks every single rule, which includes liking black people and rap, and homosexuals. What I think about Heather, meh, she's okay. At least she's not a Karen. So the next wife we're introduced to is Meredith. So even before we get to meet her, her gay son basically just stole the spotlight from her. Now looking at the house, they're very paid. She's originally from Chicago, and she lives in Utah with her family part-time. So she's a wife, she has 3 kids, still married. She's not Mormon, she's Jewish. And it looks like their son being gay isn't that big of a deal, which is great to see. So the cameras are following them as they're just taking a pointless stroll in the middle of nowhere in Salt Lake City. Okay, they seem to like each other, which is great. Now, my first impression of Meredith is kind of like a meh again. I like her son more than her, and I guess I love that, they're progressive parents and they fully accept their son. Now, next up we have Lisa. Ooh, this is a nice house. She sounds like she smokes a pack of cigarettes every hour on the hour. She has a very raspy voice. She's from New York. She was born Jewish, but she practices Mormonism. She's a wife as well, married a really long time. She has 2 kids. She's in like luxury marketing, and her husband own a bunch of tequilas. And I gotta say, she's running off these liquors, and I haven't heard of any one of them. Wow, they're just going to all these fast food places. Like she brags and says she doesn't cook for her family. So we see them going to Sonic and Taco Bell and some other pastry place. Okay. Now my first impression of Lisa is she kind of reminds me of the last woman, and again, just meh, you know? Pretty forgettable. So now we're back with Jen, and I guess they're establishing how they all know each other. Ooh, Jen in these python boots, looking like money. Okay. So I guess she already knows Heather. She's going to her beauty bar to get a little touch up on, I'm guessing, her face or maybe her neck or her knees. She definitely looks like she's been under a knife or 7. So Jen is basically talking to Heather about how she plans on throwing this big party for one of the other wives on the show's birthday. So the next housewife we meet is Whitney. And production is giving us a misdirect to believe that this is her wedding day they're capturing, when in actuality it's her 10-year vow renewal ceremony. Now, her personality, I would say, is bubbly. She's very college white girl. She reminds me of the white girls I went to LSU with. Now, the mess with her is the way she met her husband. They had an affair, and they were both in other relationships, other marriages. She also used to work for him when they met, and he's 18 years her senior. And I did the math for y'all. She was 24 and he was 42. It's scandalo. Now, she knows Heather. Heather is her cousin. Whitney was born and raised Mormon, but I guess she got kicked out the church for this scandalous affair that she had with this guy. So she says she's no longer Mormon. She has 2 young kids and a stepkid that can pretty much pass for her brother. Oh, this reception she has is lit. Like, she got out that gown and some short shorts, and now she's swinging on the pole. I mean, I see how she bagged him. Now, my first impression of Whitney is I'm feeling the storyline. I am here for the mess and the scandal. I think she stands out, and I can dig it. So now we're back with Jen, and we see that her assistant is driving her around in her Porsche. Why is her assistant so old? He looks like he's about maybe late 40s, early 50s. So we see that she's planning this party for the other wife, but it kind of looks like she's planning this party for herself more than the other chick. Oh, she has a second assistant. She's giving Deshaun Snow from Atlanta, but way more fabulous. Now the next scene, we see Meredith meeting up with Lisa, and now y'all, I can't tell the difference between them. They look exactly alike. I don't know how I'm gonna do this going forward. Like, one of them needs to cut their hair or dye it, because they look too much alike. Seriously, I'm confused already. So one of them, I think Meredith is the one with like the bigger lips, and then Lisa is the one with the raspy voice. I'm gonna try going forward to distinguish them, but please don't get mad at me because they look exactly alike. So they're all at Meredith or Lisa's house, and Jen is meeting up with them. And I gotta say, I think I'm 30 minutes in, and Jen is my favorite. She's getting out this car in these heels, and it's snowing, snow everywhere on the ground. She's fabulous. I gotta give it to her. I think this is the star of this franchise. So they're sitting around, and Jen is talking about the party she's planning for herself, as well as Meredith's birthday. And I'm guessing the drama with Lisa has with Heather is Lisa says she don't know her like that. And Heather is Jen's friend. And I'm pretty sure she's going to run tell that to Heather. But yeah, this is going to be the drama between Lisa and Heather. Is that, like, I don't know her. Now, next up, we get to the final wife. And I think they saved the best for last. We got Mary. It's like Mary. Anywho, that's the one who's married to her step-grandfather. Yes, I did not stutter. That is her thing on this show. That is the drama. That is the tea. She married her deceased grandmother's ex-husband. Yes. And she's friends with Whitney. She's meeting her for lunch. I'm guessing birds of a scandalous feather flock together. And it looks like Mary is a fashion girl. Like, I see the labels, darling, the labels. She was married to her step-grandfather for 21 years. A lot of women on this show, they've had some long-ass marriages. Now, I can see these marriages ending due to reality TV because there's always a housewife curse where somebody on the show gets a divorce. Now, Mary is in her confessional, and of course she has to explain, like, why is she married to her step-grandfather. And she's saying, you know, with her husband next to her, that her grandmother wanted it in her will. That, you know, she wanted her husband to take care of her girls. And this brings up other questions, like, he married your grandmother. How old was he and how old was you? Because y'all were married for 21 years and they have a kid, y'all. We haven't seen that yet, but they have a kid too. And I know they're not related, but that's still just weird. It really is. And it seems like her grandmother wanted the church that Mary inherited to stay in the family. That's why? I don't know. So then we get a cutaway to all the other wives in their confessionals being asked about Mary's husband. And yeah, it's the common sentiment. It is weird. And I believe that as the season progresses, we'll get more to that story. So we're getting to know a little bit more about Mary, and she's not Mormon. She's actually Pentecostal. She's the first lady of this church that she inherited, and she's the preacher as well. So the person she has drama with on the show is Jen. And this is because Mary said that Jen smelled like a hospital. Yes, y'all. I can't make this up. So then I'm guessing Jen finds out about what Mary said. And then Mary was telling Whitney the story and said that hospitals, it just takes me to a dark place. And the smell, you know, I just wanted to throw up the smell. Okay. So her and Whitney are talking about Jen's party, and Mary thinks she's not invited, but she actually gets an invite to the party. Now, my first impression of Mary, I'm feeling her. I'm feeling her for the show. For the show. I think she's a mess. I think she's going to bring the mess, and her against the other alpha of the show, that's going to be some good TV. So I'm pleased with Mary. So far, I'm liking Mary, Whitney, and Jen. So next we're with Jen, and she's setting up the party, and we see she's completely rearranging her house without her husband's knowledge. This woman just got a mic and she is barking orders around the house. She is a hoot. I'm enjoying her. I'm thoroughly enjoying her. And she has this pink mic barking orders to everyone. So Heather arrives to Jen's place, and she's kind of like blown away that, you know, she's going all out for this party. And it also looks like Jen has 3 assistants. 3. I don't think Mariah Carey has 3 assistants. What does she need 3 assistants for? So Jen and Heather sit down for a bit, and Jen is being the bone carrier in this situation. She tells Heather that one of the twin white women was talking about her. She says, oh yeah, she says she doesn't know you, girl. And she also dismissed y'all's friendship as like, woo, I'm the party girl. And of course Heather is pissed off by this. So now we have a quick scene of Meredith. That's the one with the gay son, y'all. And she walks into her living room and she sees all these like petals of roses everywhere for her birthday. And it was done by her husband, who's not there. She's in Chicago for her birthday. And personally, I'm like, who gonna pick all this shit up? That's what I want to know. And she kind of feels like she rather would have had him there than have this rose petals and shit all over. Wow, this episode is 1 hour and 15 minutes. I mean, I'm feeling the episode, but I don't think it got to be this long, Bravo. Now, it's the night of Jen's party for herself and for Meredith. We see all the ladies getting ready, and side note, I'm starting to like Heather a lot. She reminds me of my white homegirl I used to know in Atlanta. We used to party all the time. You know, we take shots and get drunk. I like her. Now, all the ladies arrive, and Meredith, whose birthday it is, the one with the gay son, y'all, keep up. She comes in with this fire pink number. I'm really loving it. It looks really nice. And as soon as she walks into the party, she sees the step and repeat with Jen's name on it. And she realizes, yeah, this party was more so for Jen. Like, someone even bought Jen a birthday gift because they thought it was Jen's birthday. That's how much this party is for Jen. Wow. So now Jen does something very tacky and makes a grand entrance at Meredith's own birthday party. So later we see Lisa, that's the skinny one with the tequila, not Meredith. And she interacts with Heather, and ooh, this was kind of like a quick like hi and bye. Like, I don't really want to talk to you, but hey, like, I know that because I do that to certain people that I don't like. I actually had to do that recently at a Halloween party. But yeah, I usually do that to people who I really don't want to speak to, like, oh, hey girl, hi, see ya. That's how it went. So now Jen finally confronts Mary about the hospital comment. Now, Mary's perspective is, oh, well, with the hospital smell, it just brings up me in a dark place. I had like 12 surgeries for like getting rid of my odor glands. Okay, moving on. Now, Mary's perspective is hospitals kind of just give her like a triggering effect. It's like brings her back to like a dark place, to where she had like 12 surgeries to like maybe get rid of her odor glands. And from Jen's perspective, it's like, okay, I was at a hospital because my aunt was there and she was getting her legs amputated. So that was really insensitive to what you said. And Jen is like, you said that I smell like hospital. And Mary says she didn't say that. And Jen says, well, yeah, my homegirl heard you say it. And then Mary's all hyped up like, oh, who said that? Bring her over. Bring her over. And Jen brings the lady over and she says, yeah, Mary, you said that. And then Mary gets mad and dismisses the woman who she just asked to show up. Now, my thing is, why can't Mary just apologize? Like, clearly it was a little insensitive to her now that you know that she's offended by it. And it's even worse in her confessional, y'all. She starts chastising her aunt, saying, well, why she need to get her legs cut in the first place? Like, it must have been because she wasn't eating right. She need to drink some water. I'm like, wow. That's unforgivable. But yeah, she said that in the confessional. I wonder what Jen thinks just seeing that scene. Now, Mary continues to say that the smell just reminds her of a dark place that she went to without even trying to apologize. And this pisses off Jen, and she storms off into another room and she starts cursing. And we get a to be continued. Now, thoughts on the first episode. I was surprisingly entertained. And maybe it was because of my expectations were so low. But I actually really enjoyed it. And I have like my favorite housewives already on the show. Like, I love Jen for the show. I love Mary. I like Whitney. I like Heather. Now, Lisa and Meredith, they look too much alike. And I feel like I'm going to have a problem like describing them in their scenes in future episodes. Now, speaking of that, y'all, if y'all do watch this, I will do the rest of the season, but if this video don't do well, then I'm not gonna do it. Anywho, I enjoyed this episode. I'm curious to see where it goes. And yeah, I give this episode a B. I kind of enjoyed it. So yeah, I'll see y'all for the next one, and I can't wait to see how this video does. With that said, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all for the next episode. Bye.